There's a $2 mix sitting in your kitchen right now, and it can clear most clogged drains in minutes, not slow it down, not mask the smell, actually break the blockage apart. And the reason no one tells you about it has nothing to do with whether it works, and everything to do with how much money is made when you don't use it. Because every year, millions of people pay $100, $150, even $300 for a plumber visit that solves a problem that often starts with something simple, something predictable, something that builds up slowly inside your pipes, until one day the water stops going down and suddenly it feels like a serious issue, something complicated, something expensive, something you can't fix yourself. The plumbing and drain cleaning industry generates billions every single year, and a huge part of that comes from routine clogs, kitchen sinks, bathroom drains, showers, tubs, the same problems happening again and again in different homes, and most of those problems don't come from anything mysterious. They come from everyday buildup: grease, soap residue, food particles, hair, oils, things that don't seem like a big deal in the moment but slowly stick to the inner walls of your pipes, layer by layer, until the flow of water is restricted and eventually blocked. And when that happens, most people don't think about what's actually inside the pipe. They just think something is wrong and needs to be fixed quickly. So they buy chemical drain cleaners, strong liquids with warning labels, products that promise instant results, and sometimes they work for a short time. But often they don't fully solve the problem because they burn through part of the blockage, but leave the rest behind, and that leftover material becomes the base for the next clog and the next one after that. Until the problem keeps coming back, and when it gets bad enough, that's when the plumber gets called and the cycle repeats over and over again. But here's the part most people never stop to question. What if the problem isn't that clogs are difficult to remove? What if the real issue is that most solutions are designed to act fast, tee, but not completely, strong enough to show a result, but not balanced enough to fully break down what's inside the pipe in a safe, controlled way? Because if you look at what actually causes most household clogs, it comes down to simple chemistry and physics. Grease and oil solidify as they cool, soap reacts with minerals and water and forms a sticky residue. Hair binds everything together, and over time, this mixture forms a dense, stubborn mass that water alone cannot move, and many commercial cleaners try to attack this with extremely aggressive chemicals. But that approach comes with trade-offs. It can damage pipes over time, especially older ones, and it doesn't always penetrate the entire blockage evenly. Now, here's where things get interesting, because long before modern chemical cleaners existed, people were already dealing with clogged pipes. They didn't have branded products or expensive services. What they had was observation, simple reactions, and practical methods that worked with the materials available to them. And one of those methods has been sitting in kitchens for generations, quietly used, rarely talked about in a serious way, and often dismissed because it sounds too simple to be effective. The method uses a combination of baking soda and vinegar, something most people have seen, but very few actually understand, because when these two substances combine, they create a chemical reaction, an acid-base reaction, that produces carbon dioxide gas, and that gas creates pressure, bubbling action that pushes against the buildup inside the pipe. While the mild acidity helps break down grease and organic material, not aggressively, not destructively, but gradually and evenly, loosening the structure of the clog so it can be flushed away. It's not just about the foam you see at the surface, it's about what's happening inside the pipe. The expansion of gas, the agitation of particles, the breakdown of bonds holding the blockage together, and when followed with hot water, the loosened material is carried away, restoring flow without damaging the pipe walls, without leaving behind harsh residues, and without creating new problems. And this is where the gap appears between what works and what gets promoted, because a simple method that uses common household items doesn't generate repeat purchases, it doesn't create a brand, it doesn't justify a service call, it doesn't fit into a system built around ongoing problems and paid solutions, so it stays in the background, known casually, rarely explained properly, and often underestimated. But when you look at it clearly, it's not magic, it's just controlled chemistry applied in the right way. Here's how to actually use it properly, because the method matters first. Remove any standing water from the sink, if possible. Then pour about half a cup of baking soda directly into the drain. Make sure it goes as deep as possible. Then slowly add 1 cup of white vinegar. You'll hear the reaction immediately, bubbling, expanding, pushing into the pipe once that happens. Cover the drain if you can. This helps keep the reaction focused downward instead of escaping upward. Let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. Give it time to work through the buildup. Then flush it with hot water, not boiling. If you have PVC pipes, but hot enough to help melt and carry away grease and loosen debris, for heavier clogs, the process can be repeated sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times, depending on the buildup. And in many cases, you'll notice the difference immediately: water draining faster, less resistance, fewer odors because the source of the problem is being broken down. not just pushed further into the system, but it's important to understand the limitations, because this is not a solution for every situation. If the pipe is completely blocked with solid material, or if there is a structural issue like a collapsed line or heavy root intrusion, this method won't fix that. And in those cases, professional tools or inspection may still be needed. And even with normal clogs, consistency matters. Using this method occasionally can help maintain flow, but ignoring buildup for long periods will still lead to bigger problems over time. There's a simple example that shows how this plays out in real life. A homeowner dealing with a slow kitchen drain, water pooling every time dishes were washed. They tried commercial cleaners multiple times, each time getting a temporary improvement, but the problem kept returning. Eventually, they used this method properly, not once, but twice over 2 days, and the difference was clear. The drain cleared, the smell disappeared, and over the next few weeks, the issue didn't come back. Not because it was forced open, but because the buildup had actually been reduced. And that's the difference most people never see. The difference between forcing water through a clog and actually breaking the clog down. There was a time when simple solutions like this were common knowledge, passed down, used without branding, understood as part of maintaining a home, not fixing emergencies. But over time, that knowledge became quieter, replaced by louder, faster, more expensive alternatives that promise convenience but often create dependency. And the truth is, most household clogs were never meant to be complicated. They only feel that way when the solution is separated from the cause. If this made you see things differently, share it with someone who's dealing with the same problem right now, and subscribe to the Fix Vault if you want more simple solutions that actually work. Because sometimes the most powerful fixes aren't hidden. They're just not explained clearly. And now you know